Well, it is no surprise with the election being just 1 week away. Candidates continue to pull out all of the stops to get the attention of voters.
And both candidates running for the 8th Congressional District, which covers all of northeast Minnesota, were out door knocking this week.
Northern News Now's Isabella Zadra tells us about what Republican Congressman Pete Stauber and DFL challenger Jen Schultz are focused on as they square off in a rematch.
The race for the 8th congressional seat that represents northeastern Minnesota is a familiar one. The Republican current seat holder, Pete Stauber, is running for his 4th term, and his opponent, DFLer Jen Schultz, a former state representative, ran against Stauber in the last election. Both think that they are the right choice this time around. Back in 2022, Stauber beat Schultz by more than 47,000 votes, winning some 57% of the vote. Despite this wide margin, Schultz is taking on the challenge again this election, saying the voters are disappointed in Stauber. The 8th congressional seat was DFL strong for many years prior to Stauber, and Schultz says this year she thinks the pendulum is going to swing back blue. She hopes the Democratic ticket at the top of the ballot will help her cause.
There's a lot more energy right now with Harris and Walz on the ticket, and we think that's going to help everybody on the ballot who are running as DFLers.
Stauber is confident he'll keep the seat red. Being from the area covered by District 8, Stauber says he understands the lives people in the 8th District live and knows what the locals are most concerned about for the future.
We're going to change the direction of this state and country if we all get out and vote. We do not have to accept what's happening right now.
When it comes to Stauber's campaign, he wants to fight for the district's economic well-being, which includes mining. Stauber says Minnesota is lucky to have minerals right under their feet, adding that mining needs to happen here versus other countries.
We're going to use the best labor standards and environmental standards to make sure that we can mine in the Duluth complex, the biggest untapped copper nickel find in the world.
Schultz's campaign focuses on issues she's heard from people about in the district, such as healthcare and housing, but said the first thing she'd do if elected was pass the bipartisan border security bill.
Change the asylum process, and we need to also have a path for citizenship because our chambers of commerce, there's a workforce shortage. We rely on immigrants to make up the lack of workers we have in our country.
And while both Stauber and Schultz differ on many issues, one thing they do have in common, an all-out push to get the vote out. In Duluth, Isabella Zadra, Northern News Now.